It's Cookie Lab.
Hi, and welcome to Cookie Lab. I'm Jill.
And I'm Chris. And today, I think we have not only like video and we're in 3D and smell-o-vision, but we're also going to taste a cookie that you have traveled far and wide to research.
That's true, Chris. I was fortunate to travel to Italy for work, which happens sometimes. And within Italy, there's a teeny tiny country completely, and I'm not talking about the Vatican, it's another one.
Really?
It's called San Marino, and it's like a typical hilltop fortressy Italian town, but it's
Wow.
its own country.
It's like Lesotho in
Exactly.
South Africa.
It is exactly like that.
I wonder how big is it? Do you know?
I cannot remember. It is the third smallest one of these things in Europe and the fifth smallest in the world.
Okay, cool.
Vatican being the smallest, and then I think Monaco.
Lesotho's in there somewhere, and
Yeah.
San Marino. We
And
don't know what the
apparently-
fifth
Apparently
is.
another. So
I bet each of them have a special cookie.
yeah, so we had a walking tour, a tour guide who told us about the national cookie, and immediately I started recording her because I have a cookie podcast.
That's your job.
Yeah. So San Marino, as I said, is a tiny republic within Italy. It claims to be the oldest extant sovereign state. Still, like, it was founded in the year 301. They claim to be the oldest constitutional republic in the world.
Okay.
And they have their own everything, their own fables and myths, and the people are very proud of having fiercely maintained their independence. There was all kinds of, political stuff with bishops and popes.
Well,
But they've always they managed to keep their independence.
it seems to me as though Italy was one of the last countries to unify.
Yes, and they wanted to stay separate and took some heat for that.
I
but
bet they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the 1800s, they made Abraham Lincoln an honorary citizen, and he wrote them a letter that says that San Marino proved that government founded on Republican principles is capable of being so administered as to be secure and enduring. And so this is like a huge point of pride for them. I mean, it's like a town. It's like you visit a town.
Yeah,
but it's its own country with
country.
like diplomatic, relations.
Do they have
with
their
Abraham
own money, or do they use the euro?
They use the euro, but
Okay.
they are not part of the EU. And they speak Italian, but they're not part of Italy. It's very much like a tourist enterprise where you go there and the beautiful old, medieval, pre-medieval streets, it's all tourist shops and gift shops. The actual people live like on the flanks, like or down below.
Yeah,
some people still live there, but it's like
It would be
basically
like
like living in Venice.
if downtown Boston was its own country,
Yeah.
and Faneuil Hall is where everybody goes,
Yeah.
and then we all live in Roxbury.
something like
Yeah,
that.
those are references for people around the world who should visit Boston.
Yeah, why not? So the cookie is called Torta Tre Monti, which refers to there are three towers that you can kind of hike to.
Okay.
That's what it represents
Tre
here.
Monti, three
Yeah,
mountains.
they've got a feather on top of each one.
Cookie of the three mountains.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. This cookie has been made in San Marino since 1942 by La Serenissima. And it has a really sweet origin story that I want to share with you.
Excellent. We love an origin story.
So what it is a sugar wafer like we had before when we made heydays. This is going to be like a European heyday, but it doesn't have actual nuts or caramel. So forget that.
Nothing like that. Nothing like
But it
that.
has a sugar-
Except it uses a wafer.
Sugar wafer base. I believe on that episode we might have talked about the sugar wafer originating in like Austria.
Okay.
The Loacker brand.
Yeah, the Loacker. Yeah.
Or the Manner wafers. Yeah, so either Germany or Austria. And so the story as told to me by my delightful walking guide is that in World War II, San Marino, which at that time had a population of 10,000, absorbed 100,000 refugees.
Really?
Yeah. Some of whom were Jewish families. And there were two sisters, Edith and Zita Grunfeld, married to two friends from Bologna. And they settled in San Marino. And the one brother made a paint factory, and the
Okay.
other brother made a sweets factory. And both factories are still in operation. And the brother who wanted to...
And one day they ran into each other and they said, "You got paint on my
Well,
sweet.
actually-
you got sweet on my paint."
That's kind of, you
Yeah.
could think about this that way, you'll
Yeah.
see momentarily. The baker wanted to pay homage to his wife's culture, and her being from Austria, the sugar wafer was the base.
Yes.
And so it's really like a cocoa-based, these store-bought gluten-free sugar wafers are vanilla-based. There shouldn't really be any vanilla in this,
Okay.
any vanilla cream, but I don't think it's gonna bother anybody. I think it's gonna be delicious.
It's not going to bother me.
So what I did was slice the layers and spread Nutella inside to make up for the fact that there's no cocoa filling in this wafer. And then we rolled the edges in ganache. So it ends up looking, this is obviously made by a machine and it's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, and this is also like a cartoon, right?
Right.
No, it's a photo.
Yeah.
So I made little mini, this is the snack size one. They sell it in two sizes. They're
And
like
it's about the
14
size
euros.
of this circle
Yeah,
here?
I can
Yeah.
take it out if you
That's
want.
okay.
I've eaten half of it.
No.
Okay. I had to test to see what
Yeah.
it should taste like.
It's part of the research.
And so these are the ones we've come up with ourselves, and I'm so excited to share it.
Oh, excellent. And so, how did you make it?
I used store-bought gluten-free sugar wafers. They're actually Manischewitz brand. They're wider than the rectangles.
From the Passover.
Yeah, they just came that way, and I didn't want them for the heydays, but for these, they were perfect. I was able to cut circles out with a small circular cookie cutter.
Oh, yeah.
Use a butter knife or a steak knife to slice open a couple layers in there, spread the Nutella, put it back together in a sandwich, and then kind of rolled the edges.
And here
in
we
the ganache.
are.
Oh, and we had to make ganache,
And we had to make ganache.
which
And
is going to be fascinating in the science section today.
okay, excellent.
Do you want to eat the cookie?
I do want to eat the cookie.
It looks like you've brought us some coffee, so that's
Yeah.
great.
It is a wafer. It's heavy
I think-
because it has Nutella in it.
I think maybe we would want to let the ganache harden a bit more before serving it. This is pretty messy. What do you think?
Yeah, you could cool it. Ganache, as it cools, it
Becomes
gets
stiffer.
a little more stiff. But we couldn't wait.
Let's go. The Nutella makes the layers slide.
A little bit. Really a nice little Italian treat. It does
Samarinese, not Italian.
take me back to my days in Italy. Like, I understand it's a different country, but
No, it's very close.
it's got that light pastry kind of crunch with special things inside of it. Nutella is very well known for, like in Italy, they eat the Nutella a lot.
I have like Nutella fountains on every corner.
Yeah, exactly. Coming out of pigs' noses that you rub for good luck. I like the vanilla in it.
There's nothing I don't like about it except that it's kind of tricky and slippery.
How does that compare to the actual?
The actual one is totally self-contained and dry and not gonna mess you up.
The ganache is dry, so
Yeah.
it's like a chocolate.
Well, some of the recipes online said fondant, which is completely different, right?
Completely different. Let's look at the box. Let's look inside. It's not gluten-free.
This one isn't gluten-free. This is from La Serenissima. I love that they've been doing this for so long. They have a few different flavors. It's not like unlimited flavors. There's a pistachio flavor. They have a flavor that they call coffee aroma flavored, which I find hilarious. Like, why isn't it just coffee flavored?
They should get with our sponsor, Mightylicious Flour, and make a gluten-free version, because this would be good for that. Oh yeah, it looks just like it. Jeff. It's
We
really
did good. I did good.
Yeah.
This has 5 layers of wafer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would need a more industrial
It's
situation.
a thinner wafer.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
They've separated the wafers thinner, because this cookie the cookie you made is thicker than
Like,
this.
even to start with, it was. Yeah.
So
I'm sure they have perfected their methods. Remember, we talked about the super hot, like, instantaneous crisping of the wafer on the
Yes.
thin metal
yeah.
trays.
So they probably just make
They know what
thin
they're doing.
wafers to begin with in round circular molds.
Yeah, but that's the fun of Cookie Lab. We
have to.
we backed into
create.
it. We worked it out.
It's a delicious, fun
So I think
treat.
Yeah, we've talked about wafers, and I don't know if we've ever talked about Nutella, but I found ganache to be somewhat interesting scientifically, so I thought I would
it's
tell you
French.
about that. Right.
So it's got to be interesting.
So according to research published in the International Journal of Gastronomy and Science,
Oh my goodness!
No less of an authority.
Yes, no less of an authority.
there is, as I'm sure you're hoping, a wee bit of controversy.
Oh,
Just wee. It's wee.
And I love a ganache controversy.
Is it an oil in water emulsion? Is it a fat suspension?
What?
Let's break it down.
All right.
Chocolate is a suspension of sucrose, cocoa, and milk particles in a fat phase, which is cocoa butter. And cream. So the ingredients that when we made the ganache, as you will see perhaps while I'm
we can
talking
go over, it.
this
Yes,
right now.
Right now, what do we do? How do we?
Chopped chocolate and cream.
We chopped cream.
Warmed cream, chopped chocolate.
Got it.
And not chocolate chips, because chocolate chips contain something, and we've talked about this before too, to help them keep their shape.
Some waxes.
So if you just want like pure chocolate and for it to behave and melt, chop your chocolate, pour the cream over the chocolate, cover it for 5 minutes, and then stir it.
Yes, that's what we did.
And ganache sounds so fancy, but that's what it is. And you could vary slightly the ratios
Of chocolate to cream.
of chocolate to cream if you want it to be just something you're dipping something in and have it be a really thin coating, or have it be like something that can stand up by itself.
Sure.
It's commonly used inside truffles, and you can infuse it by, having coffee beans in there for flavor, or putting in some liqueur
Yeah.
when you stir it.
Okay.
We didn't do that because this is just
We just wanted the
basic chocolate
straight,
ganache.
straight cookie.
So cream is an oil and water emulsion. And in a chocolate and cream mixture, cream is considered to be in an aqueous phase, and chocolate is in a fat phase. So that would mean that ganache is an oil and water emulsion. But other researchers say that it is a water and oil emulsion. I don't know the difference. And still others say that cocoa particles could swell and destroy the emulsion, or that fat crystallization could influence the structure.
Oh my goodness.
I kind of think this is one of those studies that people undertook, like, to have fun and maybe get a magazine article written about them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But important in the world of emulsion scientists.
Yeah, well, and food scientists, if they're trying to have a certain properties to create a certain effect.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be. So what happens in ganache, according to the authors of this study,
Stays in ganache. Oh, no.
their hypothesis was that it is an oil and water emulsion. Cocoa butter crystallizes, and partial coalescence takes place between fat globules. So I think they're kind of like getting together. The globules are coalescing a little.
Yeah.
And so when that happens, it becomes something else entirely. It becomes a bicontinuous system.
A bicontinuous system.
Which is also called a Windsor 3 or a middle phase microemulsion. And in this system, the water and oil phases alternate on a microscopic scale.
Okay.
Which reminded me of when I made puff pastry. What was that cookie for? Oh, for the elephant ears, what did we call them? Palmier.
Oh, yes.
When you make that dough, you don't incorporate the butter and the flour. You have like a blob of butter and a bunch of dough with a little butter in it to hold it together. And then you make like a gazillion layers. Like you fold it, fold it, fold it. So that's what I'm picturing, but on a microscopic scale.
Yeah, sure.
Of
Okay.
the fat and,
The water.
liquid, water.
And so they just continue to go like this?
Yeah, I think so. And this bicontinuous, other things that are bicontinuous systems are
Okay.
used for cleaning up oil out of water,
Oh,
or
sure.
delivering drugs to specific
Parts of
parts
your
of
body?
your body, maybe, and something to do with batteries. So, what I read
Because then you would get a flow of something, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I read this and thought, oh, this is silly and fun. But I think there probably are some important things for the people who care about it to understand here. So
Does it have
thank you
anything to
for-
do with the ganache hardening over time?
Yeah, I mean, that does, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but that definitely factors in. Like
Okay.
with the different ratios and the different melting points of different cocoa butters from different regions of the world.
Okay.
A lot of variables, a lot of fun to be had if you are a person who wants to get into ganache.
All right. Yeah, there are whole TikToks of ganache. There are whole websites of ganache.
It's so funny because it has a fancy sounding French name.
But it's
and
so
there are
easy.
yeah, but it was 2 ingredients and
Yeah.
it took us like 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think you can up your game, cookie makers, with a little bit of ganache and try to make the Torta Tre Monti and tell us how it went.
Just like we've upped our game with Mightylicious flour.
I didn't use any Mightylicious flour in this because
And-
it was store-bought cookies.
Oh, okay. And
All those Mightylicious also
the
make store-bought
video, and you
Yeah.
can find us on the YouTube.
cookies. Yeah. Can
Just
you?
look up Cookie Lab.
Oh,
yeah, eventually
okay.
on TikTok, Cookie Lab, on Instagram, Cookie Lab. Like us, subscribe.
Sounds
and
like we're going to
leave
need to hire a social media intern.
beautiful comments. Yes, I'm looking for another Labrador Retriever who is good on the,
We need a
on
yellow
the
one.
internet. Yeah, a yellow.
That's the only one we're missing.
And then working on the smell-o-vision. So
And the bicontinuous system.
and the bicontinuous Higgs boson system. All right. There's one cookie left, and I'm going to eat it off camera. And we'll see what happens next week.
Very good. See you then, Chris.
All right, bye.
Bye.
It's Cookie Lab.